My name is Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. I live at 3102 Century Hill Road, Acre, Mississippi, 38841. I am under attack. People are driving parasites through me and my family from a remote location. Remote controlled worms. I can also hear their voices. They are very hostile and demeaning. They keep threatening me and my family. They have somehow installed technology in my brain that makes me see things and hear things. They harass me constantly, and they threaten me as they drive the worms. So they will hold a worm against a vital, my brain tissue or my lungs or heart or nervous system. They will poke me with it while they threaten me, threaten my life. They are premeditating our deaths. This is what I have experienced. It appears that there is more space in the universe than humans can see. There are 11 dimensions. These extra dimensions reside within the particles that we can. So the particles in which we are made of are just a shell. Within these particles lie 11 dimensions. We have biology in these extra dimensions. So we have 11 dimensional biology. They call this the inverse. When we die, we utilize this extra dimensional biology to have an afterlife. From what I have observed, the human genome produces an 11 dimensional humanoid with horns on our head. It appears to be ghost like or aghast, and it is designed to fly through outer space. So we become aliens when we die. A space-faring organism. We have a soul tube. Some of them have a myelin sheath. We have tubes that run through our legs, digestive appendage that allows us to expel waste. We actually glow. Our eyes glow, and they do molecular light transfer. They can breathe light or fire. This sounds crazy, but that's what I have observed. So Scientology is the practice of utilizing this extra dimensional biology before we die. They remove it from themselves and they turn it into an upper dimensional vehicle. They use technology and techniques to modify this biology to turn it into one or more upper dimensional vehicles in which they can drive around. This this tech or there first I had to explain there is a uh, an entanglement property between our third dimensions and our extra dimensions. So if it's removed from us, we are still in this biology, no matter how far away it goes, especially brain and central nervous system. So if they remove a piece of our brain, we are still experiencing this brain tissue no matter where it goes from us. They utilize this entanglement property to create a hive mind or a control center for people to access the upper dimensions. There's a compound somewhere on Earth that is an inverse, uh, that is made of inverse particles. It is an inverse or an extra dimensional compound. So they remove brain tissue from people and they will install it into a pod or a little box and then install it into a computer system. a wall or a big housing object. And from there, they interface themselves with the computer system. From there, it acts as a command center for them to access the upper dimensions and to drive their upper dimensions. They can also communicate with each other and interact with each other in a digital landscape. Being threatened. Away from me, you're breaking the law. Well, this technology allows them to do several things. First, it allows them to access the upper dimensions, to drive their upper dimensional biologies. Second, it allows them to drive surrogates or create surrogates. They remove organs and tissues and biology from other humans and organisms to create a biology in which they can drive themselves. They can drive other people's biology. They drive humans, animals, insects, and worms. Yes, I'm being terrorized and harassed and tortured. So, third, this technology artificially stimulates neural tissue. So they can isolate individual memories, neurons, and thought patterns and stimulate this brain tissue. So they can make you experience a memory, or they can make you experience a thought pattern or thought process. Yes, they can make you think a certain way about a certain idea, and this controls behavior. It's like a little. Sometimes they do little plays or little cartoons in your mind. They control your neurons. They have one little uh, product. They call it riding the purple dinosaur, where you're actually a little kid in a dream, and you're dancing on a dinosaur. You spin around and then wink, get an ego boost. Body hacking, Scientology. Okay, this technology also artificially stimulates other brain tissue. So they can stimulate the emotional center in your brain and make you cry or feel joy, and they can give you pleasure. And this technology also elevates neurochemistry. So they run energy or electricity through neurons, and it stimulates a neurochemical metabolism, which means it produces neurochemistry. It forces neurochemical production. So it elevates neurochemicals like dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin. It has a narcotic-like effect upon the user. And lastly, this technology records sensory perception input. So it records our vision, our hearing, our taste, smell, feeling. Yes, sir. They have stolen my extra dimensional biology, especially brain tissue, because I am a literary genius. I write for fun in my spare time. I always have. And I've wrote things. I've wrote Crazy Bird Comics. I wrote the Environment Creation Agency. I wrote Divine Currency or Buffalo Dollars. I wrote Alien Bob, Bug Bob, and several others. Yes, I write a lot. I'm extremely sick. So the Scientology community has become a criminal enterprise. They do things like kidnap people. It forces assimilation upon people, people of interest, people with influence, authority, or power. They get forced to assimilate into Scientology. So these people can control our behavior. They can control our authority or power or influence. Yes, they do cops as well. They like to steal other people's extra dimensions. So what happens is whenever a person practices Scientology, they get one of these doctors, a Scientology professional. They call them preservation specialists. It's Preservision is a Scientology company. So is Yuma's and the Lizard Co. So they remove your Anunnaki from you, your 11-dimensional biology. And this thing has layers. So every 3 dimensions, energy expands into the next set of 3 dimensions, and it creates another layer. So you wind up with 3 layers. And they like to cut themselves along the layers. So they wind up with 3 biologies in outer space. But they can't function this way. They can't function being cut. They lose organs, organ function, and brain function, and they lose homeostasis and the ability to produce biochemical electricity. So, in order to function properly and survive in outer space, they have to use organs and tissues from other organisms, like humans. They use humans, reptiles, lizards, insects, and worms. So they steal body parts from these organisms and transplant them into their chopped up chopped up biology in an attempt to make them function properly and make them whole. They modify these biologies highly, and then they use technology to force them to function. So they run electricity through these organisms that replaces our biochemical electricity that we normally produce. So we normally run on our own speed or on our own energy. We produce our own energy. These people have to artificially stimulate these biologies to make them function properly. And yes, you can get in them and control them. So they make lizard people, they make insectoids or bug people, and they make worm people, and then there's the alien form. So there are several types of aliens, which is just a human that has been modified to look alien. They have blue bloods, greens, and grays. That's the ones that I've seen. Now the grays, that's just the plain biology that's been cut. Some of them survive this way. Then there's the greens, which is I don't know if it's some kind of 3D printed thing, and they can 3D print tissues and organs onto a biology, and it could be uh, a natural modification. And then there's blue bloods, which is an 11-dimensional alien. It is an Anunnaki that the particles have been turned around. I think they lose their ability to fly when they do this, so they have to use other organisms. They make spaceships out of other biologies and technology. So a lot of them are actually riding around on worms. It's comical. Aliens driving worms through the outer space because they lost the ability to fly. Yes, nothing beats an Anunnaki. Our predecessors or the ancients, they helped us develop our afterlife, our extra dimensional biology, and Anunnakis are the best that humans could possibly produce. They are designed to fly through outer space on your own steam and never return. They have a head covering and a myelin sheath, very thick skin. They have the ability to fly. They have soul tubes and digestion tubes that come out of their legs. So yes, humans are creating the aliens out of their extra dimensions, and they are remote controlled. Aliens are a remote controlled organism. So a large percentage of the Scientology community is criminal. It has become a criminal enterprise. They are uh, either either forcing people to assimilate or they are practicing Scientology on people, which involves the removal of brain tissue and other organs or stealing biology in an attempt to control people. And they implant technology in our brains. They make us hear voices and see things. They say it sounds like the police are trying to get away with criminal activity. and the military. I'm extremely sick. So these people do things like kidnap, exploitation, they traffic humans, torture and rape is rampant among these people. Yes, and murder. They like to murder people. They like to cause accidents. They like to sabotage people's lives. So they like to hurt people and cause accidents. And they use other humans and animals to get this done. So they can literally use another person to hurt you or cause catastrophe in your life. They love vehicle accidents. They love to take surrogates and poison people's water and food with them. They like to destroy our property or our environment. They like to take particles out of our environment or contaminate our food and water supply from the extra dimensions. So they like to invade privacy. They invade homes and businesses for information gathering or to manipulate the environment in some way. And they use their upper dimensions as lookouts so they can break and enter into people's homes and businesses. They like to use parasites and viruses and other microbes as weapons. It's a biological weapon. They have genetically engineered parasites, parasitic worms that get big. These worms have teeth, and they are used as a weapon. And so are microbes and viruses. So I have reason to believe and evidence that they are responsible for the COVID outbreak, the coronavirus, killing a lot of people. We are seeing a lot of the population get sick, and a lot of them have died. Weakness, dizziness, and health problems are becoming widespread. Yes, these people are terrorists. Yes, a lot of them are government officials, the military, police, the FBI, the CIA. Well, this starts out as Scientology and surrogate making. So this is largely a medical field. It is literally the act of removing biology from an organism. They remove organs and tissues, brain tissue from an organism, either to help you practice Scientology, which means turning or modifying your upper dimensions into an organism you can drive around, or they practice Scientology on people. They like to remove people's brain tissue and install it into their computer systems. They do this in mass. Social media, marketing companies, and tech companies are doing this in mass. So is the government. And then they create surrogates. So these people create surrogates for a living. They actually remove other people's biology and organs and tissues for surrogate making to turn it into a vehicle in which they can drive around. These are humans practicing Scientology. Scientology has literally taken over the universe. People on earth that are among the living have taken over the earth and the heavens. And these are European descent. These are Americans. They are conditioned to hurt people. So when these people force assimilation upon us, they like to take over our lives. They tell us what to do, where to go, when we can eat, when we can drink, or even if we can eat and drink. They make us do things. Some of these people get forced to go out and do things for these people. Usually it's criminal activity. And then some people they assimilate for other reasons, like sexual purposes, or these people do things that they like. Like my case, I write literature. They got to experience me creating literature and ideas, and they fell in love with it. It is such a joyful experience to write, to read, and write and create. It is for me. It's something I do for fun. And they got to experience this. Now they think they own my intellectual property. There's civilians and government officials here. This is only the big ones. Well, they're still civilians. He said, well, we can call them CIs. No, you can't. It is illegal to do this to people. Yes, it is. It always has been. You can't put your hands on people. No, you can't. It is coercion and entrapment and due process. So they're trying to come up with some narrative, some false narrative, in which says that I've done something wrong, that somehow validates their criminal behavior towards me. This is a money making gimmick. It's another kidnapping and exploitation case by Scientology. They do this a lot to a lot of people. And most of the time, most of their victims is for sexual purposes. So they like to kidnap attractive people and have their way with them. And then winds up as a torture and murder case. It is well documented what Scientology is doing to the public, or at least what the outcome, what it looks like to us. Yes, I hear their voices right now. They have utilized every single piece of technology that they have on me. So this started out as a forced assimilation on social media. So I used to be a political activist on Facebook. I participated in politics a lot. We discussed elected officials. We discussed lawmaking and policy, environmental issues, corruption, and uh, we discussed things to make our policies that would make people better, like health care for all and wage increases and affordable housing. And we were good at it. We actually got some things done. We controlled some of the laws that were passed. And I was also a literary genius, so I wrote a lot. And I inspired a lot of people. And this caused a lot of people to produce literature for themselves, which I was fine with. If I do it in public, I like doing it. I like helping people write and read and gain knowledge and produce their own content. I do it for fun. I get joy from that. So if someone forced assimilation upon me because they wanted to read my mind, they wanted to experience my mind space, which is what Scientology does, their hive mind. So other people can experience another person's thoughts and emotions and flow states, their joy, their sadness, their psychology. This technology allows other people to do this. This turned into exploitation. So they let other Scientologists read my mind for a fee. They made other people pay to read my mind. Civilians, mostly civilians. And then it turned into intellectual property theft. So they started stealing my works of literature and the things that I was working on and studying. Then it turned into biological theft. Well, first then it turned into torture, uh, assault, became very ill and sick as soon as they put me into the hive mind. They stole brain tissue and installed foreign objects. So they stuck things in my brain and deep inside of my ear that made my whole face swell up and warp. So I started going to the hospital getting x-rays done. They didn't see anything, but looking back, these people were acting strange. Some of these doctors and things were very sexual. Some of them even offered me sex. Yes, when I went to get scans done. So as time went on, communication became worse. And it was apparent from the beginning that the public was invading my privacy, that civilians in the world could see what I see, that they were invading my privacy. And then they communicated with me. Radio DJs, media companies, marketing companies like NPR, MPB, the actors, entertainment professionals, even the government and government agencies in the military. They were all communicating with me through media. And then every once in a while, I would hear voices. Well, starting out, I heard voices right away coming through my radio and my television and my digital devices. They have special phones that allows you to hear, that allows us to communicate through digital devices. We even have special phones that allow us to communicate through with the sounds of the world, like the crickets chirping. They actually make a voice. Someone's talking to you, and the cars going down the road. Sound waves produce a sound in your brain. So it's turned into intellectual property theft. Then it turned into biological theft. So they started cutting my brain pieces out, more brain tissue. They did this to use as transplant purposes and surrogate making purposes. So they literally used my brain tissue as a transplant for themselves. Well, this is what I have experienced. This guy's acting like a local police officer. Yes, they started cutting out brain tissue and other organs. They wound up taking my whole biology. No, it's not called ordained. When you cut a person's brain out and stick it on another human, that is not ordained. What they call ordained is Scientology, using your upper dimensions before you die. That is ordainedness. So then it turned into a snuff film. Yes, they're using worms and upper dimensional techniques to harm me and my family. I have received thousands of assault, uh, wounds, damage to my brain and central nervous system and my tissues, either with parasites or with their upper dimensional techniques. And the problem is they have removed my upper dimensional biology and I'm still in it. I'm still in this upper dimensional biology. So they use it as a torture device. Yes, this has turned into a snuff film. And I'll explain this in a minute, why it happened or why it's happening. Yeah, this is a snuff film. They're calling some kind of criminal case. They're saying I've done something wrong that somehow justifies their criminal behavior towards me. When the truth is they're doing this anyways to a whole lot of people. Yes, to cover up their intellectual property theft, biology theft. Now I'm getting victim shamed. They're screaming at me. Oh, I've done something wrong. Yeah, these people don't act right. First of all, they've never experienced a real life. They have never experienced the real world. So normal people, we have jobs and families. We have to house our families and feed them, and we have to interact with society normal in a normal way. We have relationships with the people around us. This is a normal human activity. These people see other humans as a food source, an organism in which they can take biology from, a surrogate to create surrogates, or another human they can try to manipulate and control. So social media and the marketing companies are actually stealing brain tissue from the public. Anybody that uses Facebook or other social media or just the internet in general or has a television screen, they are losing, they are, these people are stealing our brain tissue and it's installing it into their computer system. They're saying everybody gets one. Saying, so what? So they can read a person's thoughts and try to attempt to control their behavior. So they like to read a person's mind or observe their sensory perception input. They're probably stealing eye nerves too. So they can invade a person's privacy in their thought, in their mind space, and then attempt to sell them things. So they watch what another person's doing, and then they show them ads and commercials based on what this person is buying or wants to buy or what's in their environment. So that's part of the Scientology's process or activity. Yes, they're doing this in mass to a lot of people. Now I'm still getting victim shamed. Says I'm just telling you what they're saying. It's all bullshit. There's a conflict of interest. That's manufactured evidence. Okay, the due process. So here is their psychological evaluation. I'm very good at psychology. I practiced it my whole life. That's part of the reason I got assimilated. You see my face? Scientology did this. Yeah, that's brain damage from an early age. So Scientologists are conditioned to remove body parts for a living. They literally remove biologies or organs and tissues from other organisms, either in an attempt to help them practice Scientology or to use these biologies for surrogate purposes or transplant purposes. They are conditioned to do this. Then they modify biology or they steal biologies to use in their computer system, or they actually install technology directly into our biology, our brain and central nervous system. This is what they do for a living. This is Scientology. They are conditioned to do this. It is all they know. They don't live real lives. They are Scientologists. Yeah, it used to be a lot worse than this. They actually finally removed the devices, and I feel a lot better. But now I have severe brain damage. So this is what Scientology is conditioned to do. They are biological thieves. They are biological modifiers. They do biohacking, body mods. They do this for a living. They see body parts and other people's biologies as a commodity and other humans. So they can traffic humans and they can use your body parts for for personal and monetary gain. So they can make money with another person's biology, especially if this person is a person of interest, has any kind of special abilities like intelligence, or they are persons of interest, people with influence, people with power or authority. Yes, I'll explain that in a minute. So on top of this, they are very criminal. They are forcing assimilation upon people. They are taking over businesses. Every single institution in our society has Scientologists working in them. Media companies, marketing companies, social media, Google, Facebook, tech companies like Microsoft, big businesses, then the government. We have politicians, the FBI, the CIA, the military, all have Scientologists working in these institutions. Yes, and the Department of Justice, Department of Defense. They all have Scientologists working, and they all do Scientologist bidding, which is a criminal enterprise. So they do body parts for a living, which is a criminal activity. If you aren't helping someone practice Scientology, which is a not a very they make a lot of money, but it's not a very big field. They don't do this for a whole lot of people. They don't let a lot of people access the upper dimensions. But as time goes on, it's getting bigger. So now they're letting more and more people access the upper dimensions, and they're stealing body parts from people for various reasons: home invasion, invasion of privacy, and so on and so forth. So first they are conditioned to do body parts. Now they are conditioned to commit criminal activity. And on top of this, they are artificially stimulating neural tissue. They are elevating neurochemicals. It is having a narcotic-like effect upon these people. Elevated dopamine and norepinephrine causes psychological abilities if it's a long-term uh, event. And these people are experiencing this 24/7, nonstop. Yes, they have elevated neurochemistry 24/7, nonstop. And it has an extremely narcotic-like effect upon these users. So they're body snatchers, body mongers, and criminals, and now they're high. They're twacked out of their heads. I'm seeing severely negative psychological issues and behavior within these people. Psychosis, delusions, which include religious zealotism and an occult uh, ideologies, irritability. These people are extremely irritable. Anger issues, violence, pettiness, and jealousy. They don't want other people to have their biologies. If they see a person succeeding and doing something great, like writing literature or getting something done, they are very petty and jealous. They want to take it from these people. They'll actually steal body parts or sabotage this person's life. Jealousy and pettiness and greed. If they see someone else that has something that they want, sometimes they sabotage people's lives, or they break and enter and steal things. say people see and hear things we don't know. Yes, I'm extremely sick. I have severe brain and central nervous system damage to my heart and my lungs. And they keep causing me damage or removing biology. And then they use transplants or preservision, which is a form of 3D printing, to try to make it look like nothing happened. I am on life support. Lizard people and the aliens and preservation is giving me life support. Yes, in an attempt to get away with this. I am extremely sick, and so are my animals and my father. So, lastly, our dead people in our extra dimensions experience time in a different way than our third dimensions do. So, humans in the third dimensions, we see time as a linear event. We experience days passing, we experience seconds and minutes and hours. Time is actually a simultaneous event. What our third dimensions experience is an illusion. Time is actually simultaneous. So that means the every second and minute and hour, the days passing, the past, the present, and the future all happening at the same time. It is all happening right now. The beginning of the universe and the end of the universe happen right now in this very moment. That means in this very moment, I am being assimilated 13 years ago. And in this very moment, they are driving my father as a surrogate in the hospital as he gives me the name Christopher. My mother objected. There was conflict. So I wound up with four names. So first off, my name is supposed to be Robert Wayne Weathers. So they turned my dad into a surrogate, and he named me Christopher. Robert Christopher Wayne Weathers. Now I have four names. Just so they can uh, call this torture and rape and murder a Christian martyrdom and sell this to the Christian community. So people are like, oh, yeah, this is real. This is okay. So the Christian attributes to this story is modified and made up. Yes, and at this very moment, they are experiencing my death. Say some of them are. They have hurt me and my animals and my family very badly. I've already had two strange, unexpected deaths happen in my close family, my close relatives, within the past few years. They die of unexpected or a surprise organ damage. They get organ damage or failure really quickly and die. At least that's what the hospitals are calling it. Yes, it appears they have murdered some of my family members. So then, all of this criminal activity towards people, this rape and torture, murder, mutilation, surrogate making, it is creating terrorist activity on Earth. Like some of these ordained people are creating the coronavirus, are killing people with worms and viruses. They are murdering people. And I suspect a lot of the school shootings and the terrorist attacks have to do with these people. Yes, it is easy for them to make a surrogate and to commit a crime with this surrogate, and they get away with it. So they keep saying, "Oh, we get away with it. We see the future." We are in the future. Nothing bad happens to us. But it's happening to a lot of innocent people. There are millions and millions and millions of innocent people dying and suffering because of this ordeal. And they're like, hey, we nothing bad happens to us. And the worst part about it is these are government officials, mostly the military. This is mostly a military operation. So at the end of all this, they're left with the conditioning of terrorist activity, and humans do something with their psychology. They try to justify their behavior. Every one of them do. They say, well, it's so and so happens, or they try to come to some conclusion or create some narrative in which somehow justifies their behavior. A lot of people do, especially criminals. So now they're like, well, we're just trying to do population control. Or they're saying, well, Americans deserve it, genocide and slavery and all this and that. Yes, I wrote the ECA, the Environment Creation Agency. I wrote Divine Currency, or created it. I created Crazy Bird Comics, Alien Bob, Bug Bob, and several other stories that I've already explained on social media and YouTube. I am extremely sick. Yes, they have me on life support. They have removed massive amounts of extra dimensional uh, brain and other tissues. I'm experiencing some kind of weird sensation. I can tell part of my brain isn't there anymore. I have been severely damaged in all dimensions. Surrogate making. That's what this all boils down to. Forced assimilation. They want to drive. This Scientology community is bad about this. They want to experience what someone else is going through. Yes, especially entertainment professionals, the actors. They have gotten a lot of these people, a lot of our entertainment professionals. Yes, the people that make movies are actors. I'm not going to name any names, but a lot of these people are afflicted. They have their paparazzi team. These people are paparazzis. Everybody's going crazy. We're seeing bad behavior. And it all boils down to their addiction to Scientology. So they are addicted to humans and other organisms. They're addicted to putting our hands on us, messing with our biologies. They are all conditioned wrongly. So here is the conclusion of Scientology versus reality. Our dead people and our extra dimensions have special abilities. We have very powerful eyesight. We can see in all dimensions, down to the molecular level. And we can see everything when we're dead. In a healthy environment with a healthy biology, we even have molecular transfer, magic. We can move particles around with our mind, even force chemical reactions and stuff. We can fly. We can go anywhere in the world, up, down, side, side, with our heavenly bodies. We can see biology's functioning. So they can see energy flowing through our brain and central nervous system. They can see particles flowing through us, like our the fluids flowing through us in our bloodstream. Get away from me. And they can even modify genetic material on the fly. So they can modify DNA structure to create certain specific features in a biology. So in ancient times, these abilities were utilized to help life on this planet develop and grow. They helped humans achieve the Anunnaki form. They modified our genetics into a spacefaring organism so our descendants could have an afterlife. They could survive in outer space. And it was good. And they let us do it. Every one of us blasted off our bones straight into outer space when we died. We didn't need help from nobody. They helped us develop a food source. Yes, they helped us turn primitive plants and animals into a food source that we could use, modern humans could use. Genetics. We know what you humans down there wanted. We helped you out. They gave us an afterlife. So Scientology has created a conflict of interest never before seen on Earth. The living are getting to walk among the dead and assume the powers of heaven. And this is America. Everybody has bad psychology. We don't help each other survive and grow and develop. They oppress people. They keep people down. And they use it to make money off of people. So Scientology is controlling our society. Is they are abusing the powers of heaven for personal and monetary gain and to practice Scientology. That is their employment. It is a sick and disgusting practice, which you remove biology from people. Yes, we are an Anunnaki. You can cut us to pieces, and there's a chance that we will still survive because we have extra dimensions. There are so many dimensions to us. You can top some of it off, and we can still survive. Yes, most of the time they need help, life support, and transplants when this happens. And this is the world of Scientology. The blue bloods don't. All we need is a worm to fly around on, so they lose their flight. So, but we have everything else. Sick and disgusting. So, in Scientology, you want to achieve a blue blood form. Yes, this is what I have observed, or what they're telling me. It is the optimal form that you can have after being cut up. It is the healthiest. They're still sick. They got to sit there in one spot and they can't go anywhere or do anything. Yes, we are supposed to be Anunnaki. The ancients ordained this for us. It is the optimal human experience to die and go to heaven and breathe fire. The alien, the greens, and the blue bloods. Yes, I'm having an alien experience. You've been ordained since the beginning of time. This is Christianity. Christianity never should have happened. Christianity is a cover up for Scientology. It's alien interaction with human beings, which is Scientology. The aliens are remote controlled organisms. Someone on Earth is driving an alien around, interacting with humans. Because our upper dimensions transcend time. These aliens in these upper dimensions, they see time as a simultaneous event. So at this very moment, someone in ancient times are building pyramids and temples and stuff and studying the afterlife. And they actually had knowledge of the afterlife. Yes, they seen Anunnakis and lizard people, star people, and even aliens. Our ancients did. And they recorded this knowledge. It's even written in stone. And then something happened a few thousand years ago. People started hearing voices talking about Christ and the Abrahamic God. There was a God up there. And they started writing this down. And then it turned into a big religious movement. These people became violent. They started conquering other civilizations and destroying our ancient knowledge and forcing Christianity upon them. So they take over the world and they force Christianity upon us. And we lose our knowledge of the afterlife or of reality. This has all happened within the last 60 years because our extra dimensions transcend time. And people that are among the living have the most power in outer space. People that are among the living can control an energy source down here and give their extra dimensions energy so they never die. And if you're among the living and you get cut, cleaved, you grow to immense proportions. So these Scientologists, once they remove their extra dimensions and put it in outer space, someone just threatened my animal. Get out of here. You're breaking the law. This is private property. Leave. Get away from us. An alien. I gotta go get my animals. They're being assaulted. Come on, girls. Come on, girls. Come on, baby. Okay. Okay, baby. You okay? She's sick. You okay, baby? You okay, girls? This is a surrogate baby. I'm very sick. Some money making gimmick. My literature is literally an attempt to save the planet, to save life on this planet. So it's an attempt to help humans, or especially our modern societies, control our environments again. That's what we are losing out on. We are destroying our environment. And life is a product of its environment. Everything about us humans and the organisms we share this world with is a product of the environment in which we are creating. Everything, like our intelligence levels, our health, our longevity, our behavior, every bit of it is a product of our environment. We are creating bad environments. We are not giving people good education or health care or enough money to create a good home. We're not giving people good homes. We are not giving people a good food supply. So it is a system that literally allows us to control every aspect of our environment. So it boils down to money. The ECA, the Environment Creation Agency or Environmental Control Agency, is actually an agency that creates our money based on our control of the environment. So every time we do something good for the environment or a human or another organism, a transaction is made and we create real money, buffalo dollars. So why don't you explain that in closure? Get away from me. Yes, I've been kidnapped from these people. They have installed my reading technology so they can hang on and record every single thought and visual process and word that I've ever said to make money because my intellectual property is so valuable. I have never, ever wrote anything that pertained to heaven, not publicly, which the universe and the extra dimensions is a part of our environment. So if we are allowed or capable of adding this knowledge to our data, to our collective knowledge or our common knowledge, then it can be utilized under the ECA. Yes, even aliens can get ECA. I don't know, they're remote controlled. So it boils down to their third dimensions. We want them down. We are Anunnaki, son. Fuck this alien bullshit. You should see these aliens. If you've seen one, you'd probably die of fright. It is literally shocking. I mean, they are literally, it's literally, it's like you remove the skin from a human being and you see all their muscles and tendons and shit. That's what it looks like. Except it's huge and big and they have features that frighten us. Their presence literally kills people. She says, I know, I just seen one. She's almost passed out. It was so horrible. They're literally ugly. It's a product of our bad environment. It is worse than any horror movie you've ever seen. Call them lizard people. We need an extra dimensional police force. We need to police the heavens. They're not going to destroy our world. Scientology can get fucked. If you want population control or to destroy life in this universe, then you first. And that takes care of the whole problem. We can go back to living our lives, helping life flourish. It's on the back of a dollar bill. The temples, the pyramids, they supersede Scientology and Christianity. It is about helping life on this planet grow and develop and achieve its optimal existence. And it's ultimately about the experience that we have on planet Earth while we are alive. We want people to have a good experience. Every organism alive deserves to have a good experience while they are alive. No living thing has ever asked to be here. No one is asked to be alive. Y'all are oppressing us, giving us shitty experiences, and then a lot of us are now going to hell. We're going to have suffering and pain in the afterlife. None of us has to be here. Yes, the all seeing eye, the pyramid on a dollar bill. First off, it stands for our extra dimensional eyesight, the ability to see everything, everywhere, in all dimensions, down to the molecular level. And then the rest of the pyramid stands for a pair of horns. And then you can say that the individual blocks, they kind of look like lizard skin, but not really. Yes, I'm feeling ill today. My brain damage is getting to me. I fear for my life and the life of my family. I'm going to go try to nurse a bad brain.